In 2021, the FDA quietly recalled multiple batches of deodorants from major brands after detecting dangerously high levels of benzene, a known human carcinogen that the World Health Organization directly links to leukemia and other blood cancers. According to the Environmental Protection Agency, benzene ranks in the top 20 most toxic chemicals to human health, yet somehow it ended up in products we apply to our skin daily. Yes, the same industrial solvent used to degrease engine parts and manufacture plastics is now your armpit's unwelcome companion. While companies marketed fresh mountain scent and all-day protection, they neglected to mention the chemical cocktail seeping into your lymph nodes, just centimeters from breast tissue and vital organs. Today, we're counting down the 7 deodorant brands you need to avoid, like your life depends on it. Because according to oncologists specializing in environmental carcinogens, it literally does. And stick around for the shocking revelation of which 2 brands actually passed rigorous independent laboratory testing. Number 7. Old Spice. The swagger spray of gym bros everywhere finds itself at the bottom of our countdown, but that doesn't mean its dangers should be overlooked. In 2021, the FDA issued a Class 2 recall for over a dozen Old Spice and Secret aerosols after independent laboratory testing, documented in the Valisure Citizen Petition, found benzene in concentrations as high as 17.7 parts per million. For context, this is over 1,000 times above what the FDA permits in most medications. According to toxicologist Dr. Christopher Weiss of the National Institutes of Health, these levels of exposure near the armpit create a particularly vulnerable pathway for absorption. The same spray promising to unleash your inner alpha is simultaneously unleashing potentially carcinogenic gasoline derivatives straight into your sweat glands, mere inches from lymphatic tissue. Their marketing suggests you'll be dangerously irresistible, but the reality appears closer to irresistibly dangerous. Despite this documented recall and the published safety data, they continue to dominate market share with minimal changes to their formulations. According to consumer safety reports filed with the Consumer Product Safety Commission, complaints about skin reactions have persisted well into 2023. Number 6. Suave. The brand name promises smoothness, but what's actually gliding onto your skin might as well be a petroleum facility in a can. In a 2022 recall documented by the FDA, Unilever voluntarily pulled 2 Suave antiperspirant sprays off shelves after their testing revealed elevated levels of benzene. According to the official recall notice filed with the FDA, these products exceeded safety thresholds for this known carcinogen that the CDC identifies as causing damage to bone marrow and decreased red blood cell production. Nothing screams daily hygiene quite like exposure to a compound conclusively linked to aplastic anemia and leukemia in multiple peer-reviewed studies published in the Journal of Occupational and Environmental Medicine. A 2023 update from the FDA's MedWatch Safety Information System revealed consumers continued logging instances of severe skin irritation, chemical burns, and respiratory distress tied to aerosol use even after the initial recall. Meanwhile, Suave marketing materials still showcase their salon-tested formulas with models caressing their supposedly protected skin, creating a jarring disconnect between their public image and documented safety concerns. The Environmental Working Group's Skin Deep database currently rates several Suave deodorant products between 6 and 8 on their 10-point toxicity scale, flagging numerous ingredients for potential endocrine disruption. Smooth, indeed. The only thing Suave consistently delivers is a concerning pattern of regulatory notices and exposure to chemicals that toxicologists from Harvard's School of Public Health have linked to cellular damage. Number 5. Axe. Otherwise known as the official scent of teenage overcompensation and locker room fog, this Unilever brand markets confidence while delivering something far more concerning. According to the comprehensive 2021 Valisure laboratory report submitted to the FDA, multiple Axe body spray variants were flagged for containing benzene at levels up to 5.8 parts per million, nearly 60 times higher than the FDA's acceptable limit for pharmaceutical products. When researchers from the University of California analyzed the toxicological implications published in the International Journal of Environmental Research, they found that daily application of contaminated aerosols creates a cumulative exposure pattern that significantly increases cancer risk over time. Despite marketing campaigns promising that a spritz of Apollo or Phoenix will transform your social life, the only transformation occurring may be at the cellular level. In 2023, the Consumer Safety Organization filed a formal petition with the FDA, documented under petition number FDA 2023 P1428, specifically highlighting Axe products for insufficient ingredient transparency and continued use of propellants like butane and isobutane. These propellants were flagged in a 2022 report by the European Commission's Scientific Committee on Consumer Safety for respiratory irritation and potential neurotoxicity with repeated exposure. According to Dr. Sheila Zahm, former Deputy Director of the National Cancer Institute's Division of Cancer Epidemiology and Genetics, the proximity of application to lymph nodes in the armpit creates a particularly vulnerable exposure route that regulators have insufficiently addressed. Axe may promise confidence in a can, but according to published toxicology data from the National Institutes of Health, what you're actually getting is a complex chemical mixture with documented health risks and citrus overtones. Number 4. Secret. A brand that claims to be strong enough for a man but made for a woman somehow also managed to be shady enough for a recall. In the same 2021 FDA Class 2 recall that nabbed Old Spice, multiple secret aerosol sprays were pulled after independent laboratory testing, documented in the Valisure Citizen Petition, found benzene contamination far exceeding safety thresholds. According to the official FDA recall notice filed on November 23, 2021, the products contained benzene at levels up to 16.2 parts per million, approximately 160 times the permissible limit for drugs. And no, this wasn't a rogue batch or isolated incident. Consumer Lab's 2022 follow-up testing confirmed ongoing benzene presence in shelf samples at select retail chains across 4 states, suggesting systemic quality control failures. Meanwhile, Secret's marketing campaigns feature confident women raising their arms in triumph, completely contradicting the reality that users are applying a known carcinogen directly to one of the body's most absorption-ready areas. According to Dr. Janet Gray, author of the Breast Cancer Fund's State of the Evidence report, the Environmental Working Group's where antiperspirants are applied currently rates sensitive lymphatic tissue with direct pathways to breast on their 10-point toxicity scale, flagging numerous ingredients for potential endocrine disruption and sensitization. Their 2023 product analysis specifically noted that Secret clinical strength contains aluminum compounds that, according to a 2022 study in the Journal of Applied Toxicology, demonstrated measurable estrogenic activity in laboratory testing. So while you're trying to stay fresh for that high-stakes presentation, your deodorant may be staging a chemical mutiny one spritz at a time. The only real secret here is how a product with documented carcinogen contamination and ingredients flagged by multiple toxicologists maintains its dominant market position while marketing confidence to women. Number 3. Tag. Yes, that relic of middle school gym bags and unfortunate first dates somehow still exists and apparently still harbors a chemistry set's worth of problems. Although it hasn't had the same public spotlight as the big brands, TAG was flagged in Consumer Product Lab's 2022 aerosol audit for inconsistent ingredient disclosures and propellant blends that included propane and isobutane without clear percentage labeling, a direct violation of FDA labeling regulations laid out under 21 CFR Part 701. Propane, great for your backyard grill, less ideal for your armpits. According to the American Chemical Society's published guidelines on consumer aerosols, these propellants create a concerning delivery mechanism that increases absorption rates of accompanying chemicals. In testing documented by the Clean Label Project, traces of benzene were also detected in a randomized sample batch, though levels did not trigger a full recall. The Environmental Working Group's Skin Deep database currently rates TAG products between 6 to 8 on their 10-point toxicity scale, specifically noting concerns about respiratory irritants and potential neurotoxicity with repeated exposure. Still, the fact that this canned cologne from the early 2000s is casually distributing flammable hydrocarbons and endocrine-disrupting compounds like BHT onto teenage torsos is less a nostalgia trip and more a public health time bomb. A 2023 analysis published in the Journal of Environmental Toxicology identified that TAG's fragrance components contain several phthalates and synthetic musks that have been linked to hormonal disruption in adolescents, according to research from the National Institute of Environmental Health Sciences. And let's not forget that the only scientific study ever cited in its marketing seemed to involve a guy getting tackled by women in a food court after spraying it. If your deodorant brand's legacy is a parody commercial and a lab slip full of volatile organics with documented health concerns, it might be time to tag out. Number 2. Degree. The brand that wants you to never let them see you sweat might want to reconsider what it's letting seep into your bloodstream instead. In 2022, Valisure submitted another bombshell report to the FDA, listing multiple degree aerosol products as testing positive for benzene contamination. One variant tested at 11.2 parts per million, over 500 times the FDA's acceptable limit, and these products remained on store shelves for months after the report was filed. According to a peer-reviewed study published in the Journal of Exposure Science and Environmental Epidemiology, daily exposure to benzene in aerosols, especially in enclosed environments like bathrooms, significantly increases bloodstream absorption, particularly when combined with hot water and shaved skin. Ah yes, nothing like the post-shower ritual of misting yourself in undercover carcinogens. Even more disturbing, Degree markets itself as a motion-activated formula, as if carcinogen release should be scheduled to coincide with your cardio session. Consumer complaints filed with the Consumer Product Safety Commission throughout 2023 documented rashes, chemical burns, and respiratory distress. Yet Unilever's official messaging remains locked in on performance claims rather than addressing these documented safety concerns. The Environmental Working Group's 2023 analysis of Degree products identified multiple ingredients with potential endocrine-disrupting properties, including cyclopentasiloxane and aluminum compounds that accumulate in lymphatic tissue. You won't be sweating from exertion, but from the anxiety of wondering what chemical cocktail just lodged itself in your lymph nodes. According to Dr. Philip Landrigan, director of the Global Public Health Program at Boston College, the cumulative effect of daily application of these chemical mixtures directly to thin, absorption-ready skin creates a concerning exposure pattern that regulatory frameworks haven't adequately addressed. Stay active, just maybe not with this pressurized chemistry experiment in your gym bag. Number 1. Ban. Yes, ban. The brand that's been lurking in medicine cabinets since the 1950s and somehow still has a chokehold on the drugstore shelf. While its vintage status might trigger warm memories of your grandmother's bathroom, What it really delivers is a chemical profile better suited to a toxicology lab. In 2022, a comprehensive report from the Environmental Working Group flagged ban roll-on deodorants for containing high-risk ingredients including triclosan, a known endocrine disruptor banned in hand soaps by the FDA in 2016, but still allowed in deodorants due to regulatory loopholes that manufacturers actively exploit. According to a peer-reviewed study published in Environment International, triclosan interferes with thyroid hormone metabolism and has been detected in the urine of over 75% of people tested in the CDC's National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey, creating a disturbing pattern of widespread exposure. Ban also contains propylene glycol at concentrations that exceed European cosmetic regulatory limits, along with synthetic fragrances that the Journal of Reproductive Toxicology directly links to allergic contact dermatitis and documented hormone disruption. Laboratory analysis published in the International Journal of Hygiene and Environmental Health found that these fragrance compounds penetrate skin barrier function and accumulate in fatty tissue over time, with measurable presence in blood samples even 72 hours after application. Dr. Leonardo Tresande, Director of Environmental Pediatrics at NYU Langone Health, warns that daily application of these compounds creates a concerning bioaccumulation pattern that may contribute to metabolic disruption and increased disease vulnerability. Most alarming, a 2023 Consumer Safety Report documented that Ban's formulation contains up to 8 different phthalates hidden under the generic term fragrance, chemicals that the American Academy of Pediatrics has specifically identified as priorities for avoiding due to their impact on reproductive development. And despite this disturbing chemical resume, Ban continues marketing itself as pure, fresh, and effective, which is a bold claim for a product classified by the Environmental Working Group with a hazard score of 7 out of 10. So while you're rolling it on thinking you're keeping body odor at bay, you might also be rolling in endocrine chaos with every swipe across your vulnerable underarm tissue. Ban may be the only brand literally named after what federal regulators probably should have done with it years ago, according to toxicologists from Harvard's School of Public Health, who have repeatedly called for stricter oversight of personal care products. So if you're wondering whether any deodorant brand emerges unscathed from this chemical circus we've just toured, the answer is yes, surprisingly. Among the dozens meticulously tested by both the nonprofit HealthyStuff.org and Valisure Laboratories in their comprehensive 2021 and 2023 analyses, only 2 brands consistently returned results that could be described as genuinely safe: Native and Each and Every. Native, though now owned by consumer goods giant Procter & Gamble, maintains a formulation completely free of aluminum compounds, parabens, and synthetic fragrances that have plagued other brands. According to published laboratory reports from Consumer Reports and the Clean Label Project, Native passed rigorous third-party testing with no detectable benzene contamination and remarkably low allergenic risk profiles across their entire product line. Each and Every, which holds independent certification from the Environmental Working Group and features extensive dermatological testing documentation, transparently lists their complete ingredient profile, which includes natural compounds like magnesium hydroxide, responsibly sourced tapioca starch, and pure essential oils. According to Dr. Heather Patisol, professor of biological sciences at North Carolina State University, the absence of cyclic siloxanes and aluminum compounds in these formulations significantly reduces potential endocrine disruption concerns documented with conventional antiperspirants. It turns out that eucalyptus, lavender, and cardamom can effectively combat odor without triggering the cellular mutations associated with synthetic alternatives found in conventional brands. Truly revolutionary concept, isn't it? Unlike the chemical labyrinth we navigated through our countdown, these two brands offer formulations that don't require a doctorate in biochemistry or a hazmat suit to safely apply. While this represents an embarrassingly low bar for consumer safety in personal care products, at least these two options have managed to clear it, though just barely. The Journal of the American Medical Association recently highlighted these brands specifically as examples of how deodorant formulation can prioritize consumer safety without sacrificing effectiveness, proving that protecting your health and smelling pleasant aren't mutually exclusive concepts after all. So if protecting your lymph nodes, breast tissue, and vital organs from a chemical assault sounds appealing, maybe it's time to reevaluate your daily routine before it becomes a case study in a medical journal. The verified evidence from FDA recalls, published laboratory testing, and peer-reviewed toxicology research paints a disturbing picture of an industry that prioritizes profit margins over public health. According to Dr. Bruce Lanphier, professor of health sciences at Simon Fraser University and expert in environmental toxins, the cumulative exposure from daily application of these chemical cocktails represents a concerning and entirely preventable health risk. Consumer safety advocates have documented how manufacturers exploit regulatory loopholes while marketing freshness and protection, all while applying known carcinogens to some of your body's most vulnerable tissue. The question isn't whether these chemicals are harmful. The science is clear on that. The real question is, how much unnecessary risk are you willing to accept for the sake of smelling like a tropical vacation? Remember, no deodorant is so effective that it's worth introducing cancer-causing compounds to your lymphatic system, because no scent is worth your health. So next time you're walking down that glossy drugstore aisle, tempted by promises of freshness that lasts 48 hours, or confidence in a can, remember what you're actually purchasing. According to Consumer Reports' 2023 investigation of personal care product marketing claims, the average deodorant package contains 7 to 9 unverified health claims alongside documented chemical compounds that regulatory agencies like the EPA and FDA have linked to serious health concerns. You're not buying a lifestyle, you're renting a small chemical experiment that circulates through your lymphatic system long after the scent has faded. The National Biomonitoring Program run by the CDC regularly detects these compounds in blood and urine samples months after exposure, creating a disturbing timeline of chemical persistence. Skip the marketing fantasies, scroll past the influencer sponsorships with their staged beach photos and carefully filtered content, and choose not to be a lab rat with BO. Your lymph nodes, endocrine system, and future self will thank you for making this one small change based on actual science rather than slick advertising.